If you've been wondering if it's a good time to buy or sell or invest here in the Phoenix area, you're not alone. A lot of people are asking those questions. I get that question a lot. So today in our market update, we're going to be going through what the stats are showing us in the market, what the trends are showing us, and that way we can actually kind of project a little bit of where we think it's going for the rest of this year. Let's dive in. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Real Talk Real Estate. I'm your host, Mark Cannon, local realtor here in the Phoenix area with my home group real estate and owner of the Benchmark Real Estate team. As always, guys, this is a podcast format. I'm just here to give you as much information as possible. That way you can make the best decision possible. Not trying to convince you anything, just trying to give you accurate information out there because obviously there's tons of crap out there right now. So just trying to give you accurate information so that way it can help you. So we're going to dive right in. This is our monthly market update for August. I can't believe it's August already. That's crazy. And if you live here in Phoenix, you know it's flaming hot. You know, July, the end of July, we start getting really hot. And now in August, we're really hot. So a lot of us don't want to be here, but you know, it is what it is. It's all right. Really, it's only crazy hot for like 2 months of the year. So it's not crazy. But it's one of those that we're going to dive into our monthly market update. We're going to talk through everything. So where we always start is inventory. So if you look here on the screen, we're just under 24,000 homes. And again, that's a little bit lower than where we have been for the past, pretty much for this year. And that's because we're in the summer. If you're not familiar with Phoenix, in the summer, because it's so hot, it's really slow until people start getting back into school. So by end of August, we might see it pick back up again, where people are like, oh, let's think about listing our home or buying a home. So that's kind of what we've seen. So nothing to be alarmed there. We're still, we still have inventory. We're not, super short or anything like that. Because if you haven't listened to my other videos, about 25,000 homes on the market is an average market here. So we're right in the realm of an average market. We just don't have a lot of the buyers right now. The demand's just not there, which I'll show you here in a second. But then interest rates, that's the other thing I'll pull up here. So interest rates are sitting about 6.8. And we've gone up. And a lot of that's to do with the turmoil with oil and inflation and the war and all the crazy stuff. And I've been telling people, like, I hear all these people, I'm waiting for 4% rates, 3% rates. You're going to be waiting for a very, 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 very long time. It's not coming. I tell people, like, we need to, for at least the next 5 to 10 years, we need to get used to 5 to 6% rates. Unless the government does something crazy and stupid, which is always possible, but we need to get used to 5 to 6% rates. That's what we need to get used to. If we can get in the fives, great. At the beginning of the year in February, when we started having rates go down, we just got into the high fives. We started seeing activity pick up, and it was like, all right, here we go. And that magic number based on data was 5.8. If we can get rates to 5.8, people are going to come back in the market and start buying. But then the war happened, everything jumped up. So, everything's been kind of slow here. And so there's markets that are buyers markets, there's balanced markets, and then there's some sellers markets as well. So it's one of those that, let's pull up the Cromford data here. I'll show you, and I'll show you two different things. I'll show you the major cities and then the minor cities. As you can see, Paradise Valley crushing it. Luxury homes have been crushing it. They're not slowing down anytime soon. So homes over $1 million still have good traffic, still able to move them. So then Fountain Hills, same thing. Those two markets have been pretty steady up there. I know Fountain Hills came down a little bit, but remember in this chart, if you're between 90 to 110, it's a balanced market. Below 90 is buyer's market. Above 110 is seller's market. Those numbers are kind of fungible to me, but it's one of those, that's kind of what they're using. So you can see, like, there's some markets like Phoenix that have stayed, well, actually it's the only one, that has stayed steady about where it is in a slightly seller's market. And then you've got, like, Gilbert's been coming down slowly but surely. Mesa, Peoria's hanging out in a mid-market. Then you get down to, like, Surprise and below, and now you're into buyer's markets because those are farther out. They just are. Now, let me show you the secondary cities. And then I can't talk today. This is the interesting thing. El Mirage is crushing. Now, it's probably because of the price point, because a lot of El Mirage is under $400,000. So that's probably why. Sun Lakes, 55 and older area, crushing. Anthem is still doing really well up there. Apache Junction, Sun City West. Some of these are starting to rebound. Sun City West, Sun City have rebounded some because earlier in the year they weren't like this. They were much lower. So it's good to see some of those cities responding. Obviously, Arizona City, Casa Grande, we expect those to be lower. But where do we go from here? What do we think is going to be coming? I'm going to be doing a video coming up soon, probably here in the next couple weeks, on Brian Buffini's bold predictions. I went to his thing in Vegas this past week and was able to hear what they think. And the gist is this, is we might hover in this area where there's going to be some, on average, balanced markets with some buyers markets and some sellers markets, probably for the next couple of years. It's going to be one of those that, it's unless something drastically changes with interest rates, we're probably not going to see tons of buyers come into the market. We still have buyers, but just not a ton. And so it's one of those that if we could get rates below 6%, yeah, we might get a lot more buyers in here and we'll probably have some more balance in sellers markets rather than buyers markets. But we're not there yet, and we may not be there for a couple of years. I think it's a good thing because, and I say that because when you look at time, I did a video, I don't know, a year or two ago about like wages catching up to where we are. And if we stay stagnant or we're not growing a ton, which I do think we'll grow some, but like, can wages outpace? And for the past couple of years, wages have outpaced growth here in the Phoenix area. And so we want to see that. We want to see wages continuing to grow and outpacing that because that will help close the gap on affordability. It's not anything that's going to be perfect. I'm not saying it is, but it is good to be seeing that. But if you're wondering, okay, is it a good time to buy? Is it a good time to sell? Depends on where you live. It depends on what your goals are, what you want for monthly payments. I strategize this with tons of people. So if you want to sit down, I'll take you to coffee. We'll talk through what's best for you. I work real estate through relationships. It's not about just getting a deal. It's about doing what's best for you, figuring out what the game plan is. I'd love to create a game plan for you. My information's right here. I hope you'll reach out. Guys, you've been listening to Real Talk Real Estate. I'll catch you next time.